You're live. Welcome to my diatribe. It's April 9th at 5:35, May 9th, 2022, just for the timestamp shit. Interesting couple of days for me. A lot of highs and lows. Felt like crap yesterday. Had a number of things with my bike. Bottle fell out, got caught in the gears, and I rode home with the gears popping in and out all the way. I'm just trying to get back on it. Done a little bike ride today. Been eating lots of different things from the forest. Wild mustard, stuff that tastes like rhubarb, Japanese knotweed. There's only in a couple more days before that'll be too tall and woody and be no good to eat. Wild mustard, violets from the ground, little violet flowers. I got some really amazing crop of them this year came up. I think I mentioned the burdock. If I didn't, I'm mentioning it again. Little bits of that every day. All my weed plants, the marijuana ones that came up on their own, self-seeded, all of them, 4 have died. I had like dozens of them, and they all seem to just petered out. Good news is I threw some seeds down just randomly here and there, and I've noticed there's a couple more coming up. Hopefully we'll have a decent crop of that this year. A number of the plantings and transplants that I've done over the years is starting to take on the forest here. There's a new plant become resident here. It's some sort of a wild poppy I'm still looking into. Apparently it's got some medicinal properties similar to bloodroot. And I did pick up some bloodroot the other day. When my bike broke down, where it broke down, there's bloodroot growing. It was kind of interesting because it broke and it's like, shit. I got it going so I could get home, fortunately. But it was a clunky ride. But I was there for maybe half an hour. And I'm getting all discouraged. Fuck, this can't be happening again, you know? And as I'm standing there, I light up a cigarette and look straight through into the bush. And there's a little clearing with several of the bloodroot plants growing in their prime. And I got a nice little chunk of it. It's blood red. It's medicinal. I'll maybe talk about that another time, about different plants and what we can do with them. These little gems, I'll call it, from the forest, these are sometimes very rare plants that, well, up until 2 years ago, I'd never been exposed to in my life. So I'm getting used to some of them. I've been eating a lot of different things that normally I wouldn't. The wild carrot and wild mustard, they're only about this tall right now. The wild carrot, it's got these beautiful leaves. They go really good. It's almost like a sweet parsley, if you will. It's got the same texture and everything. And then the Japanese knotweed, it's got a really interesting rhubarb flavor. I found that if you peel the skin off it, this time of year it comes off real easy. You got to let the shoots get up to a certain size. I find when they're about a foot and a half, 2 feet tall, you can still cut them. And you peel it up almost to the top. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the very crown of the top of the plant and putting them in little buckets to get more of them going. I took my little bike ride across the field this afternoon. Asparagus still isn't coming up yet. I've got a patch. There is a patch over there that I often go to harvest growing along the side of the road. Last year I got a couple of pieces, but they were tainted with, it's maybe last year, the year before. And I believe they were tainted with Roundup. Only I didn't realize that it had just been sprayed until about 20 minutes after I had already picked it and ate it. I was sick the next day. Big surprise, right? And speaking of chemicals, part of the reason I plopped onto this video to do it is ticks. And I've got a concern with bed bugs because everyone around me has had them. I'm in an isolated spot, so far, not a big deal. But the people that have had problems with them or still have problems with them, their animals frequently come over here. And I got no doors or closures on my dwelling. So when I'm not here, they potentially could be coming and contaminating the fabric or the ground area here, putting me at risk. There's been a number of people with the COVID that I've been associated with frequently. Fortunately, not during the infective phase that I know of. And hopefully I'm okay. Uh, there's a big subjective one, eh? Am I okay? Done a little work in the barn. Got some groceries dropped off. Like I was saying, I was feeling pretty down and sick yesterday, Sunday. Had a headache, super tired, and just bagged out. I've been doing a lot of thinking. There's a lot of issues going on in the circle right now. And, these things weigh heavy on every one of us that are affected by the people around us, those closest to us. And we all kind of share in whatever any of us are feeling to a certain extent. And it has a stressful toll on us. And maybe that was just one of the things I'd wanted to go out and socialize here with the friends at the camp. Usually on Sundays this time of year, it's beautiful out. We have a little fire. Greg puts on some music, and we have a nice little time out there Sunday nights. But I couldn't get up. I was dead. Even the sound of the race cars running all night didn't bother me much because I just couldn't move, no appetite. Woke up this morning feeling fine. Yeah, I'm eating a lot of stuff from the forest that I don't know about. There's a lot of different things can cause it, But we all have these days where you're feeling like totally prime, and then other days it's like, oh boy, purgatory again, So, as I'm looking up these things on the chemicals, bud control, I come across this stuff called permethrin. And I started looking it up compared to DEET and all the other products, and I'm seeing a similar pattern, and it's not just in that particular genre of advertising, I'll call it, because almost everyone that's promoted the product, here's how it starts off, right? Blah, 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 permethrin, and why you should be using it. If you're not using it, blah, blah, blah. Everything seems to be putting this thing on what you should do. And yet, when trying to contact these people personally, I can't get an individual. It's always a company. And I can't get any anecdotal experience. Like, anybody ever try it? I've yet to hear one experience of anyone out in the woods that said, hey, here's DEET. Here's permethrin, okay? Just I've watched this. Here, we throw the DEET on really thick. Then we throw the lemon oil. One spray. And on the other side, they're doing 3 sprays with the other chemical, and then saying, see, this one, like, it's like all the experiments I'm seeing are so fucking biased. You'd have to be an idiot to buy into it. And yet, I want to get my hands on some and just try it. It actually sounds like something too good to be true. So without getting into what permethrin is, other than it apparently is a synthetic version of some chemical that comes from mums, the chrysanthemums. So, fuck. Got a tick bite on my ear the other day, and it's starting to fucking go all squirrely, and it keeps itching. I've never had a tick bite do that before. But when I got it, I pulled it off, and it took a big chunk of my skin out. So I don't think it was on there very long because it was still flat on the surface. But I've tried putting ticks into bleach. I had 4 ticks survive 4 hours in bleach. After the 4 hours, I left them overnight, so it was like almost 12, 15 hours they'd been in there. And they were dead by then. But I'm not sure how long they actually kept living after the 4 hours. But it's like, whoa. Then I tried them in hydrogen peroxide. It stunned them for a little bit, and then they were right back active again. I put them in rubbing alcohol. I spilled it over before I got the full time limit, but it was at least a couple of hours with the alcohol. And then I tried the DEET on them, and I still had them in a little container. I didn't do that experiment right. I should have thought about it first. I tried them in the DEET first, and I noticed no effect. And that's when I got the idea, what about putting them in bleach? Anyway, the point is, I got to see a number of ticks. I think it was over the last 2 years I did these experiments, and I was stunned at how much endurance they had, the conditions they could survive under, and it's got me freaked right out. They're not even creepy anymore, they're just annoying. But then I started looking up bed bugs because of the ticks, and got me talking with people here, and there's a bed bug issue in the area. So I thought, oh, is that ever creepy? And then I started learning about scabies and head lice and mites and rodent mites and all the different things that can get you. And I'm living in the forest. Now, so far, I haven't had problems with any of these in my bedding area. And I've been outside now. I'm going on since March 9th, I've been out. And 2 years ago, last year, I spent a month and a half outside. And the year before, I spent 7 months outside under a straw enclosure made with sticks from the forest, underneath a tree, outside, actually in the forest area. And I had almost no problems with the bugs. Now, I got to tell you something else about that. I also had skin rashes all over, but I had used permethrin on my skin that year, and it was on my clothing, and I didn't get any tick bites that year. So I don't know. This idea of always going out to try and kill something for our safety has got me really concerned. And then the bushcraft stuff and what I'm trying to learn, I'm not even necessarily trying to do anything other than learning, gaining the experience. It seems like everything's a war on something. We got to kill something. Guys, I just posted on Facebook a few minutes before this that it was 79 here in Southern Ontario. I just got an update on my news here. It's now 81 degrees. That's got to be a record temperature for this time of year. Outside, it's sweltering hot. I'm inside of there's a barn area here, and about 8-10 feet out the door here, I have to take all this off because it is freaking boiling out there. Unbelievable. And it's supposed to be warm and getting warmer over the next several days with no rain in sight for a week. April showers bring, well, if we don't water things, I don't think we're going to have our flowers. Fortunately, a lot of you have flowers already. Okay, so I'm just starting to ramble here because I'm lonely and I sit at the camp doing nothing, and I just felt I had something to say. So give me 1 second in case there was something important. I guess I've covered. If anyone's got any experiences with anything to do with outside and the different chemicals you've used personally, I kind of like to hear about it. I'm looking for alternate solutions to the tick and flea and bug problem. And maybe I don't even need to. Like maybe just eating right and being outside and dwelling in the area that you're going to live in, exposed to the natural elements, is actually the only protection you really need. I don't know. So much that I do not know. Oh, and by the way, do you like the banana peels on the door handles there? I dry them out and use them as fuel later. I just think it's kind of cute. It adds a decorative touch, don't you think? Let me know what you think in the comments. Peace, everyone. This is the Monday Flow edition of Dave the Barn Boy giving his little story.